Hey, boys and girls. It's time for Uncle Jay Explains the News. Now here's the guy who helps little minds understand big news stories, Uncle Jay.
Hi, boys and girls. Well, before we start, let's send out our best wishes and prayers and vibes and karma, feng shui, whatever, to everybody who was in the path of Hurricane Ike. 3 weeks ago, Hurricane Gustav made TV news dump all their regular shows. And last Friday, they did it again, except for ABC News. They decided that Hurricane Sarah was a bigger ratings, bigger news story. Which brings us to Uncle Jay's news word for this week, lipstick. Politics has always been about things that are made up, but now it's about actual makeup. Sarah Palin, John McCain's nominee for vice president, maybe you've heard of her, made a joke about lipstick and pit bulls. But it's been more like a dog whistle, boys and girls, because it made Democrats howl and bark and wet themselves. Of course, all this talk about lipstick is really about a much bigger issue. People seem now to want a president to be like themselves. But boys and girls, do you really want someone just like you to be sitting in the Oval Office? And should the vice president and all the advisors be exactly the same way and have the exact same ideas? By the way, you're looking at more suits than Uncle Jay has ever worn in the last 10 years. Okay, the news isn't only about putting on a president or a vice president. It's also about putting it on a bear. You see, the government's trying to pretty up a bear market. First it was Bear Stearns, and then it was Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, and now it might be Lehman Brothers. These are all giant companies, boys and girls. They lost gazillions of dollars, more than you and I will ever make. But for some reason, you and I are going to be giving it all back to them. And now it's time to answer one of your news questions. This week it comes from Sean in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Hi, Sean. Sean writes, Dear Uncle Jay, can you explain that supergiant particle collider something that was built in Europe? Is it going to destroy the world like some people say? Thanks, Sean. You know, I'm not really qualified to explain this. So like anyone in the media, I will. The Large Hadron Collider was turned on last week. Workers spent over 10 years building it, and it does look like something out of a special effects extravaganza. It's unbelievably huge and complex. But some people do fear that it may accidentally create a black hole on Earth, sucking us all into a space-time rupture, making it the first ever government program that is behind schedule by 10 billion years before the universe was created. On the positive side, it would destroy all political commercials. Don't forget, you can see more news questions and answers at Uncle Jay's website. Send your questions to UncleJ@UncleJayExplains.com. Check back every Monday when Uncle Jay explains the news. And remember, a good kid is good news.